right, so as we move forward to our next session, which is a panel with all the experts who will be talking about our next topic, which is from static to dynamic hotel rate evolution. Pricing, again, is one of the hot topics always every year, and we can never end any session without having to discuss how the pricing is evolution is happening in the pricing phase in the industry. We'll be looking at how the thinking of the static pricing is slowly transforming into dynamic, and what are the implications, how the things that can evolve over a period of time, and how we cope with these technical advancements that are helping us to drive more revenue and therefore more profitability. All right, so I'll call on stage our next moderators. Claudio, he's the Senior Director, HWS Middle East, Africa, and Turkey from Hilton. And joining him is Sam Al-Asmar, Vice President, Revenue and Distribution for Rotana.
Yeah, perfect.
Right.
Thank you very much. So, Sam, how excited are you?
Extremely excited, I would say, yeah.
Global sales, revenue and distribution together, talking about static rate versus dynamic. My God, we're going to kill it. Actually, I had two thoughts in my mind. The first one is, can actually compete with Taylor Swift, and the second one, really, I think we dare to get Hotelier, DMC, and bed banks together. I think it's going to be more a Jerry Springer style of discussion today. I think, Mona, we have security in place.
Yes.
Yeah, so are you ready to discuss about static and dynamic? Oh my God, yes? Are you feel ready? You want to start inviting our guests?
Yeah, I mean, just few words before.
I think we are scared, the two of us.
Before we invite everyone on stage, good afternoon, everyone. So this panel is a bit different to what we have done.
It's true.
Yeah, to what we have done before. I mean, we have not sincerely discussed any of the questions with any of the panelists. So we wanted this to be more like questions and answers. And we would like you to participate, because we have 3 poll questions that we would like you to be active on, because you are going to use these results to also prompt some questions into the panelists.
So please, open your app, get ready, because we're going to ask you some questions. But before we get there, I think we need to invite our panelists.
Our experts.
Yeah, yes. I think we should start with the one and only from Elevate DMC. Stuart. Stuart, are you still alive back there? Here we go, Stuart Dale from Elevate DMC. Thank you, Stuart, for joining us. Who are you going to invite?
We have Claudio, one representing the hotels, including us.
Fair enough,
which is David. So welcome on stage, David.
Okay, so let's go now heavyweights here. Let's start with Martin from TBO, Chief Supply Officer, and Tomeo from Hotel Beds, so they can come in together and we can start this beautiful one. Martin, welcome. Yeah, that's fine. And Tomeo from Hotel Beds, thank you. Sitting next to you.
You're the lucky one.
I'm the lucky one. If you don't mind, Sam, I will start with the first questions before we go into the poll. And the first question probably needs to be addressed to our partners from the bed bank. So, Martin, if you don't mind, can I start with you? So how do you see the static and dynamic pricing landscape shaping up in the region? And do you see a different strategy by regional versus global hotel chains in their strategies? So this is a 2-stage questions. I know they were not ready, I'm so sorry. There will be a few seconds for them to realize where they are and why they are here. And
So you start with the easy questions, Claudio. Look, I think the Middle East and Africa is very much in a stage of evolution, probably less evolved done some other parts of the world.
Yep.
Certainly, if I compare that evolution between static and dynamic, for example, Middle East Africa compared to Europe, Europe, I would say, is significantly further along that change curve. I think it's very, very dependent on profile of hotel, type of hotel.
Yeah.
If you look at Dubai specifically, you have lots of different type of business here. So obviously you have transient business, you have corporate business here, you have very, very leisure-focused business as well. So really what I would observe is that every hotel has a slightly different strategy. So everyone is broadly moving in the same direction.
Right.
But at a very different pace, depending on the profile of the hotel. In the case of some chains, of course, are more pronounced in their strategy in terms of evolving from a static rate strategy to dynamic. But it's not a one-size-fits-all solution in the Middle East, I think.
Okay, interesting. Sam?
My second question will be for, I think we discussed with Stuart just before the session, is how do you see DMCs and hotels? Are they ready for this technological change? I mean, we talked about this before, and you had some comments to me before the session. So how do you feel about it? Like, are we ready for having more DMCs and more hotel chains using this dynamic rates?
Yeah, I think it goes to what Martin was saying about where we are in this market compared to others. I think that there are certain chains that are delivering a strategy from a global perspective, which obviously works, but when you have a subset of hotels in a particular region, maybe that doesn't quite work. So trying to push that strategy in a region where it just isn't there today. As a DMC, we work with tour operators, and we're bound by what these guys are looking for. They're on a journey as well. I think today, for us, our model is we're trying to sell as many hotel rooms as possible at the highest possible rate to make as much money, which I would argue everybody in this room is here to make money, right? That's what we want to do.
Yeah.
And it goes to this static dynamic question around static versus dynamic. I think we need to move away from that as much as possible and talk around what is the right strategy for that hotel with the partner that they're working with, right? So and for me today, there's just barriers. I think it's not that nobody wants to. I think everybody's aware that a dynamic rate can add significant value to our business. High season, when static rates are closed out, if you don't have a dynamic rate, you've got nothing to sell. If you've got nothing on your shelf, you've got a problem, right? So I believe they're still symbiotic. They can work together with the right strategy, but those barriers exist. And today, I think there's an educational piece. I'm sorry, some hoteliers in the room, but people that come to my office are told the story that dynamic is the future, and that's where the hotel chain's going. But the people that are telling me that story don't understand it. They can't navigate the questions that I have about how we're going to do it and how we're going to do it together. That's the biggest problem. Internally, I know there's some very prominent commercial people in the room that run. You guys need to get from behind your desk and come and talk to us about how you actually see it and how it's going to work. Don't just tell me you're doing it. Come and tell me how we can do it together. Because there's stuff from our side as well. From a technology perspective, a lot of our customers today know they need to get there, but they need to do some work. And I think we all know technology is not something you can say, let's do it today and it's done tomorrow. It takes some time on this. So come and talk to us about what it is around it. And yeah, I think we're all ready to have the conversation around how can we do it better.
Yeah.
So how can we grow together?
I think one of the challenges that we've got...
David,
Listen, we're ad-libbing here. From a DMC point of view is some of the DMCs are very professional in their approach, and they want to move to the dynamic. I wasn't talking about you. And they want to talk about the dynamic way. From a hotel group, we want to work still on both static and dynamic. I think the challenge that some of the DMCs got is the end client for them, as in some of the large operators in Europe, are still not technology focused enough, and they have antiquated systems. You take some of the big operators, especially out of Germany, to name them, they are not able to go onto dynamic yet. So they rely on local partners on a regional basis to do the connectivity for them, which allows us to plug in and take that extra business. But they're still lagging behind. And as a hotel group, we have a pipeline of hundreds of requests to go dynamic. So we have to be very cautious ourselves of which ones we want to work with, because it's time and money to do the sign-ups, And we will activate on a regional basis if we want to begin with, or we'll go straight on a global basis depending on who the client is.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I think just to add to that, and I don't think it is just about DMCs. And so I know the topic of the discussion is the evolution from static to dynamic, but this is really based on the assumption that the two can't coexist. Right? And I think actually the two can coexist.
Absolutely.
The important element is understanding the distribution. And that's really what's key. So if you look at our business, for example, to your point, David, there are customers and that can buy dynamic rates, and dynamic rates work very, very well. There are subsets of our business, and I'm sure also Hotelbed's business as well, that just won't buy them. Right? So for example, things like static packages, which is very relevant for like leisure-focused hotels, it just doesn't work. So I think it's moving the conversation away from is this or that, to how do the two coexist in today's environment.
And actually, Sam, okay. Yeah.
I mean, linking both, well, hello everyone. I think the issue that we have is the technology. No? Everyone would like to have the most competitive rate, but the reality is today we load an FIT rate in our system, and we can sell it to 60,000 customers all around the world. When we load the dynamic rate in the system, at least 40% of the clients, they will not see it, no? Because the technology doesn't allow it. And it's not only us. If we send all the traffic that we have to many of the hotel chains, they will go down. Then you need to select which is the traffic, which is the room types. Then not all the product today is still delivered in dynamic, no? And this is why dynamic, we need to continue working, no? We need to push it more. Just before to go in, I was asking to my IT team how many channel managers we have. They say more than 200, no? Then you need to manage all these massive numbers of connectivity, but the technology in FIT is much easier because you have the rates in your systems and they don't change. In dynamic, you are moving in a world of searches, and then not everyone can handle all this traffic, and the delivery of the product is not the same.
Yeah,
thank you.
Absolutely.
And I think you're going back to, Martin, what you said about DMCs and bed banks. I think sometimes it's perception, but perception can be reality. And now we're opening the poll, so if you're taking your phone with you, open the app, and actually the first question we're going to ask everyone is, do you see a conflict? So if we can open...
It should be on
the
screen.
Should be on.
Yeah, it should be on the screen, I think.
Yeah, it should be... yeah, so you don't see the question. So the question is actually, do you see a conflict within DMC and bed banks' business model? Yes or no?
That aimed at me.
So, yeah.
Conflict.
Conflict in the business model.
I don't know about conflicts. I think from...
I think you're not supposed to answer it yet. I think we're supposed to wait and see.
Sorry.
What
Excuse me. I thought you were looking at me.
Say.
Maybe saying yes anyway. So. I was going to go no, so...
Sorry? So we are...
No, it's not finished.
Yeah, not finished. Getting there. I think it's balancing out. Maybe not. No, I think we're sitting...
Yeah. There is a conflict.
70,
there is a conflict, Claudio.
I think there is a conflict on perception
conflict,
as well, as you mentioned, Martin, and I think it's a great platform to discuss these perceptions. And
But I think it's interesting to see 71% of the audience think that there is a conflict. Because my view is, very transparently, there's DMCs and there's DMCs. So there are DMCs that are very, very focused on a specific type of business, which is, for example, in the case of Dubai, tour operator business, 7-night, 14-night stays, etc., fully packaged transfers, and everything that goes with that. And then there are DMCs that don't operate in that space and are more onward distributors.
yeah,
Now, I would agree with the latter segment that there is a conflict. With the former, I think, again, the two can coexist. Of course, there's always going to be some degree of overlap. But overall, I think it's still two distinct types of business.
Claudio, if I may just add something. I think hotels from I'm not talking about our hotels, but in general, from hotels' perspective, I think people don't know how to deal with static and dynamic when it comes to DMC and bed banks. Who should we give this rate to? Should we give it to bed bank? Should we give it only to DMC because they have TOs connected to them, and we know that bed banks also have TOs. So they don't see, I think also there's a bit of education needed about this topic, because it's easy to say like, okay, we don't want to give static rates to anyone, but then how do we connect, how do we get the source markets we need? So
I think to the previous point that I made, Sam, it's really about understanding the customer's distribution. Right? So it's not necessarily about the rate model, it's about understanding how the customer sells and the distribution model of that particular DMC or that particular bed bank or that particular intermediary. Because there are variances, and I think we tend to get bucketed in the DMC space or the bed bank space or the OTA space in the case of other companies. And it's not as simple as that. I think that there's a real need for a better level of understanding around distribution.
Yeah.
I think the educational piece is very important as well. We discussed with Mona at some point if you wanted to do an account management session on how we're going, who's managing bed banks, who's managing DMC, how do you sit, how you strategize with our partners, and understanding the distribution and the journey is going to be key for the outcome. And I'm sure if we are all, and the sales role is evolving as well, and understanding the distribution landscape probably is going to help to reduce this 80% probably down to closer to the 50, 40%. So I know we only have 20 minutes, 25 minutes. Yeah. Sam, you want to open the next poll?
Yes, can we have the second question, please, on the...
Just whilst it's coming out, I'm surprised. I think I wouldn't expect that number of a conflict between. It'd be interesting to understand from if anyone can shout out one thing, what do you think is the biggest conflict? 74% or 76% said there's a conflict. What is it? I'd love to, I'm trying to work it out.
I think some hoteliers here would probably say it's rate leakage issues.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
Which is affecting the rate parity for us, our rate parity scores, etc. So, and that'll be because of the onward distribution of the rates, of static rates, in an uncontrolled environment with unapproved markup rates on them, etc.
There's an amazing segue into the next question, by the way.
Yes. Do you want to read the second?
David, you want to keep going?
So let's go on question 2. Do you feel supported with your hotel ADR strategy by both your partners, DMC and bed banks? It's
and then it's
still not.
And that one doesn't surprise me. That's.
Yeah. Can we have the question 2, please, on the screen?
That's it. It's on the screen.
Yeah.
It's on the screen already. So 60-80% of our audience thinks they don't feel supported in terms of this. There is no alignment in terms of strategy. And there will be, let's give a few more seconds and then we can start elaborating. And perhaps, David, you can have probably your point of view from an hotel, hospitality perspective, and then we can jump into Neo and the team.
If I can just prompt this question maybe to the audiences, and maybe also David can answer this one from a hotel perspective. I mean, dynamic rates are easy because we know it's based on a certain discount. They are connected to less room availability. They have room types. They have rates. And then as the hotel is filling up, then the rates will go up, and then people are still booking at the high rates. In terms of this is maybe why there is more no than yes. The static rates are normally in the market. They don't change.
I'm
going to argue that one. The rates change a lot, trust me. Even in the static
they stay the same, and hotels feel a bit, I'm talking from hotels, they feel a bit like not supported by, the opportunity they can get, the yielding process of optimizing these rates, because they tend to stop it or close it late in the process when the hotel is actually running at 90 or 85 or 90%. So I think this is why people don't feel like it's supporting them.
Yeah, I think there's a difference between understanding and supporting.
Yeah.
Right? I think we have a clear understanding from a hotel perspective or revenue management side of how rates are how static rates are distributed in a global environment. Okay, historically, obviously, static rates were given to a wholesale operator. It was marked up in their brochures, etc. Easy, right? But obviously, with the online, there's the seepage of the static rate by certain operators, agents, rogue agents, you name it, right? You can go through, and those rates are picked up by any of the distribution platforms, including the actual bed banks as well, and they will take that feed, right? And they will sell it.
Yeah.
We then try and police it ourselves by doing audit checks, dummy bookings, test bookings galore where we're generating, and then we can find out who the end agent is, and we issue them and we cut them off. And with the big suppliers, we operate a 3-strike rule, right? Warning, warning, cut off, right? Until it's renegotiated, can you police it better, etc. I actually feel that there is still a place for static rates in our business. I'm quite a pro-static fan still. But I said before, we have to have a balance with the dynamic. Dynamic is still a very small portion of our business compared to our static rate.
Yeah.
Okay? And the growth of the dynamic rate is probably not as fast as we probably envisioned originally it would be. So they will work hand in hand. And we're very happy for agents, operators, DMCs, bed banks to have that last room availability on dynamic rate if they're selling on the dynamic rate, right? They're going to make more profitability. They're selling at a higher rate. At the moment, if they're cut off, say, when a hotel traditionally reaches, say, 50% on occupancy for actual peak periods, I mean, they're actually losing revenue-generating opportunities. Which is why they want the advanced sales earlier. We're doing the campaigns for 2024 summer already, because you want the business on books, because airlines are short of flight seats, and we have to create that demand across all the distribution channels. So we will revenue manage a supplier, a partner, based on our availability, our rate demands, and in the end, we will take it from any platform as long as it suits us from a revenue point of view.
Yeah.
I mean, just to back up, I mean, there's a cost of doing business, there's a risk of doing business. I mean, distribution is, we always say it's complex, but I think to understand it, if you've got the right relationship with your supplier, come and talk to them about it. You know, help us to fix it too. I said, hey, I called it a barrier, not a challenge. There's barriers, and we're a part of that too. So yeah, rates can get somewhere. It's how quickly can we fix it and show we can do it the right way.
There's a lot of education, I think, also in regards to the MCs and bed banks. Not all the MCs are the same. Not all bed banks are the same. I think hotels need to understand how they book, where they book, when they book, who they are connected to, what's the booking window.
And I think the next question is linked to the distribution.
This is maybe how things will get easier to understand who's on static, who's on dynamic, and what we can do about it, I think.
And I think now, Tomeo, you wanted to say?
No, for me, when everyone was mentioning the conflict, if DMC and Bedbank, they were not in the same distribution channel, there is no conflict. No, you can give a rate of 20 to one and a rate of 40 to the other, and there will be no conflict. But today, with the technology that we have, everyone is connected to everyone. No, then or you really have an IT system that allows you to fully control which is the market, which is the type of client, everything, and then you can control it. Or it will be very difficult. In our case, we are controlling when the source is doing a search, and then when some other resellers, they are doing the same search. In the way to cut these other searches, and that they could not understand fully the distribution. It's super complex. I will agree with them. But what I will encourage is to sit with our different teams, that the teams, they really explain you which is the clients that we have connected and how it works. No? This particular rate, to whom it will reach, and which is the tools that we have in place. Because you do a test booking, David, but we have test bookings, we have 3 robots. I mean, we have a battery of things that we need to do to control the distribution and the searches of the clients, because we want to fulfill the expectations of any hotel. No?
Yeah, and I think, Sam, we can move into the last poll question, which is actually about the landscape. So if you don't mind to put the question on the screen. So do you feel you have a clear understanding on how your static rate is both distributed and protected across channels? So when we give a static rate, do we feel confident that we know where it's going to be distributed? I think that it's always stuck at 74, 76.
This is the old question.
I think this is previously voted on.
No, you need to move on to the next one.
No, this is the new one. The new one.
Yeah, that's the same one.
That was one we're answering, I think.
Exactly the same.
So we're still, so we don't feel comfortable, or we don't feel confident, that we are aware where the static rate goes once we give it to our partners. Would you agree, Stuart?
I mean, an ongoing conversation. It
Yeah.
has been for the last, I don't know how many years, right? So I think, yeah.
Mona
Sorry,
was
please.
saying you started in 2004 having these discussions, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd flip it a little bit. I think that's changed a bit now, where it's more that I think all of us are cognizant that it's a problem and inhibits our ability to do business, right? If all we're dealing with is problems, then we're not looking for the right commercial outcomes to drive our business. So look, I would say we're not. I mean, I'd ever say I can't control it. I can say that there's absolutely always going to be a problem that's going to come up, but you have to test me on how quickly I can fix it, how quickly I can do it, and what I'm doing about it to make sure it doesn't happen again. If I say it and it happens the next day and the next day, then you have a very clear play of what you're going to do. As David said, we've got our strike policy. Obviously, all of us are all trying to grow our business, and we speak to customers all the time, and they may or may not tell us exactly what they're doing right now. And all of a sudden, something new comes up because they see an opportunity to grow their business, and then it catches us out, and then there's a problem. So, look, again, I don't think we'll ever solve this one today at all. No. But again, I think if you've got the right relationship as a hotelier with your customer, then talk to them about it. And if they don't deliver, then you know what you need to do. It's that simple. Today, does a dynamic rate fix it? To an extent, because you can see the source. But to be fair, you can still take a net rate and mark it at 1% and distribute it wherever you want. So I don't think it truly fixes the fundamental problem behind it. It might make it a little bit easier, but there's always going to be a risk of doing business. That's just the way it is, right? And we need to be cognizant of that as we go through. For want of a better expression, you can't have the cake and eat it all in once, or you got to expect a little bit of pain with a little bit of pleasure as well.
But I do think it's fair to say, to your point, that the industry has changed the distribution industry certainly has changed exponentially over the last 20 years, and I would say even over the last 10 years. And as visibility has improved, all of us probably have changed the way that we distribute product. Yeah. There's a lot more visibility to Mayo's point. I think the world has moved from, certainly in the intermediary space, to trying to distribute products and trying to make a fast buck, to actually trying to build a sustainable business. But, as Stuart said, you're never going to be 100%. You're never going to be 100%, but what it's really about is addressing the issue fast and in a very responsive way.
I also think that as the hotels build more their dynamic segment as a percentage of the revenue, we will then start to control much more which partners we're working with and distributing the static and dynamic to, and we will start to switch off problem partners much more, right? Totally. We have to do that. And then that helps create our rate parity. It helps then drive our direct retail business into brand.com. If you look at the region, the average is about 15% into brand.com. Some hotels at 20%, but I'd say at 15%. And the old wholesale-driven, say the beach resorts, Palm Beach Resorts and the Jumeirah Beach properties, leisure market is traditionally now 45 to 50% of the business, not 70 or 75% like it used to be. Yeah. Because more and more business is coming through on other channels. And that makes it more profitable for us at a lower cost as well. So we will continue to push that because we want to drive conversion on better value booking channels to drive our profitability.
Thank you, David. And I think for me, the key takeaway is the educational part. I think, we need to spend time, being educated with our partners, spend more time understanding the process, so we build confidence across channels. I know we have 2.5 minutes. Yeah. I think if we can, to wrap up in terms of question, if you can summarize in few words, I know for you, Stuart, Martin, Tomeo, starting with Tomeo, what are your key strategies for next year? Where do you see opportunities as a companies? Where are you going to focus in 2024?
Well, first of all, is to expand a lot of new markets. We are placing a big team in India, starting in well, we already have, but we are going to grow because the market is performing well. Saudi has also a very good performance for us. We have been expanding. We started the office, the big office. It will be in this region, no, this July. And I will see that there are still new markets that we can explore. Africa also is starting to wake up. We see much more business coming inbound and outbound and intra-regional, which before was not there. And at a global level, I would say that we are still waiting for the full wake-up of APAC, which is still not at this. We are much more bigger than in 2019, but not APAC yet. No, we will need to grow. And Latin America is giving us very good surprises lately, that there is a kind of a boom of traveling around the world. This it will be in terms of markets, and we are continuing investing in technology year on year because this is the way to go. No?
Yeah, Martin.
What he said. No, I think, look, in some ways very similar. From a geography perspective, we're investing a lot in India, particularly from a source market perspective. We're already very relevant, but driving more business. Latin America is a big focus for us for 2024. In terms of this discussion and pertinent to this panel, we're investing in a lot of different dynamic rate tools, which will help us on that journey. I still see the two models coexisting, but definitely investing in that area. I think from an Asia perspective, you mentioned Asia. Asia is probably what everybody is waiting for. It's similar, we see some markets in Asia rebounding quite strongly, inbound and outbound, but the big one is China. So I think that's the big question mark, to be honest, that we still have.
If and when.
What 2024 is going to look like for China.
Stuart, from your perspective, I know lots is happening.
I've got 0 seconds.
Oh, come on, I'm sure Mona is going to give us 1 minute.
I'm okay. Well, perfect.
Don't worry.
I think, so we're probably, the bed banks and wholesale, we've only been around for 3 years. So we're part of my role, I've only been with the company for 5 months, is to drive a more dynamic strategy moving forward. We're acutely aware. Static rates absolutely have a place. They drive our long lead business. Our average booking window is 81 days right now. I think that really helps hotels to build base and then hopefully for you guys to yield. But we have a significant challenge during high season when hotels are yielding. I've got no space to sell right now. So we're taking an active journey to connect more connectivity partners, which will give us access, hopefully, to more hotels. Some easier and some a lot harder to get to right now. But that's where we want to go. We see it harmonizing, and for us to continue to evolve our business. We have a locally based hotel chain here where we do 50% dynamic, 50% static today. And we're very happy, as long as the business is coming in for us. So I think my message to anybody in the room is please come and talk to me about where you see your business going and where I fit into it. Whether I fit into it or not, I don't know. But let us know if where you want it to go and where you see this segment moving forward. Final piece, I think, for me on sort of the static dynamic conversation is think about your commercials a little bit. I know hotels are very proud today. You're going to hit me up in a second, I'm sure, around their ability to reduce commission or discount levels today. And kudos, that's great. That goes back to your point about profitability and making more money, which is really what we're all here for. Again, I think you need to look at it from a segment perspective. Does a 12% discount from bar is that really going to work with tour operators that work with travel agents? The answer is no, it's not. So it's great that you've got your discounts lower, but please come in. If you want to take me on a more dynamic journey, please give me the tools to help me to do it.
To help you do it.
That's really all I'm asking for.
Yeah.
I'm not asking for the work. We really truly believe that there's a space for everything in this market. We're not perfect. We've got stuff we can absolutely do better. We're still learning our journey around how we can connect and optimize it. That's the next step as well. There's a few barriers to go to, but come and talk to us and tell us how you think it can work, and we'll be very open to do that.
Thank you. Thank you,
Can
sir.
we have one last question? Can we have one last question? We still have time? Yeah?
Oh, yeah, okay. Let's.
Yeah.
Oh, we have more time. Excellent.
No, we did the 3 questions.
Yeah, we went through. It was a 70-30. Yeah, it was a 70-30. David, do you want to mention anything to...
Can I just ask one question before David? But David will have the chance to answer this one.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
okay. Go for it.
Do we think?
Forget about the time.
Do we think in the next 10 years, if we say like Rock in 10 years will be on stage again, do you think that everyone will move to dynamic rates.
No,
And
fully.
will not be talking about static. Maybe dynamic will not be, as you said, Stuart, 12% or 15%. It can be a higher commission. It can be 25, it can be 30. But do we see this shift happening from static rates and emails and stop sell and free sale and tacticals and flash sales and offers going into a full dynamic classroom availability model?
No, I think everyone wants to move to a more technology based because you save cost.
Yeah.
Today we have most of our static rates in a channel manager, and there is no emails or no anything. You can manage the static in a automated way, or you can manage the dynamic in an automated way. Step by step, the dynamic is growing, but I don't think that the static will disappear. No, time to time, maybe you want to do a flash sales at 25. This is a static rate, no? It's not dynamic. It's not dynamic anymore. Then yes, the tech component it will be growing, but I don't think that the static will disappear.
Stop. Martin?
So I think if you'd asked me 10 years ago, my answer probably would have been yes.
Yeah.
But given past experience, I probably would say no. I think that the bigger question is what level of flexibility will Dynamic afford? And that's one of the constraints that Dynamic has today, is the lack of flexibility. So I think it'll be interesting to see how that evolves, and that will partly determine the future of that static rate model. But I think it will be very hotel dependent. In some hotels, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think a fixed static rate will be a very small portion of our business, because I think there's an opportunity to move that static wholesale contracted rate onto a floating base.
Yeah,
So
with the higher commission.
No, not on a commission base. I'm talking about a static rate that can actually float like a bar rate does, right?
Yes.
Across hotels.
Yeah.
Why can't a wholesale rate? And then the end partner's booking will have a live system which will tell them, if you want to book your 7-night half board at Anantara on the Palm
available.
now, this is your price now. There is a promotion at the moment, but they could come 2 days later and it's gone up by another £100, right? So it has to evolve. You will not have this old-fashioned paper contract going out. That will all change, right? The days of that have to change, because we will look at optimization of our strategies, of our revenues. We will look at which booking channel is coming through, and that will drive our profitability. Because with inflation and every measures with high occupancy here, the perception in the Middle East that it's expensive compared to APAC regions and other regions, that we have to look at way we can drive profitability through other areas. When we look at our GOP margin for owners and for ourselves.
Okay, Stuart?
Yes, no, yes,
No,
no.
yes, no.
I have no idea. I mean, I think to Martin's point, I think 10 years ago, I probably said we might be further. I think there's still the barriers. If we can overcome some of these barriers, the tech piece is probably the biggest part in education. If we can overcome them, we can take a journey. So we can sit here in 10 years and talk about what's the next piece? Are we optimizing our rates rather than talking specifically about a particular rate versus another particular rate?
The dong, in
Thank
true
you.
Italian fashion, we are late.
Claudio,
I say thank you everyone. Thank you to our panelists. Thank you for being transparent with all of us, and thank you for participating.